Hello, welcome back to Tashs Crochet, where today I'm going to show you how to crochet your very own dragon. Here is a list of all the materials you'll need. Obviously you can change out any colours that you'd like for whatever coloured dragon you want. I want to say a huge thank you to all of my pattern testers. You did a fabulous job, and if you're interested in testing in the future, make sure you check out my Instagram. Today we are starting with the nose, so we're going to create a slip knot like this, and then we're going to chain 7. In this tutorial I am going to try and go through things a little bit slower, just so those who don't understand can hopefully try and get it on the first try. Obviously, if you are more experienced, feel free to skip all of this. If you're a beginner, I highly recommend using acrylic yarn just because velvet yarn can be harder to see the stitches. So for row 2, we're going to be working around our base chain. I have done a little diagram as well in case it gets a little bit confusing. So we're going to start round 2 by doing an increase in the second stitch, so skip 1, and then after we've done the increase, which is just 2 single crochet in the same stitch, we're going to do 4 single crochet and then an increase in that final stitch. So this is where you're going to do that increase before we turn to the underside. Fabulous, so now we're going to turn our work to work on the underside of that foundation chain. And we're going to do an increase, 4 single crochet and an increase. Sometimes I really struggle to get my crochet hook in, so if you use a smaller crochet hook, you can actually fit it into that stitch and pull it through and then continue on your stitch as normal. It just helps you get into any particularly tight stitches and you can just continue as normal. You can ignore my stitch marker at the end here, it just reminded me where I put my first stitch in the beginning of the round. It was just to let me know that I didn't put any in the wrong place. So place your stitch marker in the final stitch of your last row. Well, we're working in rounds now, and we're going to start the third one, and we're just going to be doing a single crochet the entire way around. And to double check you've done everything right, you should have 16 stitches. And at this stage, this is what your nose should look like. So on to round 4, we're going to start by doing 2 single crochet. Now, over the next 4 stitches, we are going to do an increase in each stitch. So that should mean you should have 8 stitches from those 4 stitches. I'm just speeding it up a little bit here because the video would be horrendously long otherwise. So at this point we've only done the 2 single crochet and a 4 increase, so we need to continue on now and do 5 single crochet. And now we are going to do a decrease, which basically means that we're going to sew 2 stitches into 1. Then finish off the round by doing 3 single crochet. You should have 19 stitches. Woohoo! Great! So now our nose is really starting to take shape. So I'll mainly speed run through this, but for rounds 5 and 6 you should just be single crocheting all the way around and you should still have 19 stitches. So this is the end of round 5 and I'm going to go straight on to round 6, which is exactly the same thing. Perfect, so this is exactly what your nose should be looking like. So to finish off we're going to do a slip stitch, which is like a single crochet but you just pull straight through, and then we're going to cut our yarn, pull it through, and this is just fastened off our work so your yarn won't pull through and undo everything that you just did. The great thing about crochet is you can always bend it into the shape that you want, so just try and create a little nose shape here. Great, so now we're going to be starting on the head. We're going to start with round 1, where we're going to do 6 single crochet in a magic ring. So I'm going to go through this really slowly for you to watch how I do it. Now we've put all of our stitches there, we need to close our magic ring. The first stitch can always be quite difficult, but for round 2 we're going to do an increase in every stitch all the way around. So we're going to be turning our 6 stitches into 12. This is what it should look like. So for round 3 we're going to be doing a single crochet and an increase, and we're going to repeat that the entire way around, leaving you with 18 stitches. And here's what the end of round 3 should look like. For round 4, it's really similar, but we're going to be doing 2 single crochet and then an increase, and we're going to repeat that all the way around, leaving you with 24 stitches. So this is round 4. For round 5, we're going to be doing 3 single crochet and then an increase, leaving you with 30 stitches. And this is what the end of round 5 should look like. On to round 6, where we're going to be doing 5 single crochet and an increase, and then of course repeating this the entire way around. And this is round 6. For round 7, we should be doing 6 single crochet and an increase, repeating that the entire way around, and that should leave you with 40 stitches. And this is what the head should look like at the end of round 7. So now from rounds 8 to 12, which is 5 rounds in total, we are just going to be single crocheting the entire way around. So to make this video a little bit shorter, I'm just skipping straight to round 12, and this is what it should look like at the end of round 12. To start round 13, we're going to be doing a single crochet and an increase and repeating that the entire way around, which should leave you with 60 stitches. And yes, this is exactly what it should be looking like at the end of round 13. For round 14, we're just going to single crochet the entire way around. Make sure you're counting stitches because it can be really easy to skip one by accident and you don't want to make a mistake. There is nothing worse than realising that you've made a mistake about 5 or 6 rounds later and you have to frog the entire thing, and it's just a pain that could have been avoided, so make sure to count your stitches. And this is what it should look like after round 14 is complete. Moving on to round 15, we're going to be doing a single crochet followed by a decrease and repeating that the entire way around, so leaving us with 40 stitches. And now you can start to see the shape of your head really clearly. Now there's a little bit of magic from Future Tash here where I have finished the head already, but I wanted to make sure that I got the eye placement correct. So you're going to be placing your eyes between rounds 11 and 12, leaving roughly 10 stitches between them. But if you hold up the nose to your head, you can decide which placement is your favourite. And don't worry, it is still Future Tash here again, showing you that if you can't get your hands on toy eyes, you can always use paper fasteners, or I think they're called split pins. They're really good and they're really cheap. You can put them in whenever you want and they kind of work the same, but you might want to secure them a little bit better if you plan on giving these to children. Just because it's a bit of a safety hazard, but I don't do anything like that with mine, so I find it to be a really easy way to customize my eyes and paint whatever colour I want on them. I literally just use nail polish. I'm assuming you could probably use acrylic paint as well, but nail polish seems to work great. The funny thing is, I went through all of this fuss and in the end I still used toy eyes, but I just thought I would show you in case anyone wanted to know about an easier way of customizing their own toy eyes. I guess you could also just paint plastic black toy eyes, but you know what, here's just another option in case you can't find any plastic toy eyes online or whatever the case. When I had first started crochet, this is what I had used. Back to the head, hopefully you've got your eyes secured, and we're going to start round 16 by decreasing the entire way around, leaving you with 20 stitches. And this is what it should be looking like at the end of round 16. So we're going to start stuffing now, and if you see the crumpling around the cheek area, you really want to make sure that you stuff that area well, because you shouldn't have any crumpling in your plushie. So just really get into those corners with your stuffing. Don't forget to shape your head as you're adding the stuffing, because that can really affect the shape of your final plushie. So don't forget to keep stuffing as we're closing off the head, but it'll also get really annoying because it's kind of difficult to crochet with the stuffing in there, but just give it your best shot, it'll be fine. The worst thing you can do is pull some of the stuffing through the stitch, which you can just pull out later. So for round 17, we're going to single crochet the entire way around. So this is the end of round 17 and we've only got 2 more rounds until we finish the head. For round 18 we are going to do a single crochet and a decrease, but we're going to repeat this 6 times, and in your last 2 stitches we are just going to do 2 single crochets. So these are the last 2 single crochets, 1 single in each stitch. Just a quick reminder to continually stuff as we go and make sure there's no crumpling at all. For the final round, we are going to do a decrease all the way around, and that should leave you with 7 stitches. And depending on how big the hole is at the end, I do another round of decrease, but I know a couple of my testers didn't have a hole at the end, they could just sew it closed, so whatever's easiest for you. So this is where I just added my extra round of decreases. So here I am slip stitching and fastening off my work, and I'm leaving an extra long tail just so I can fill in any gaps that you see at the base of the head here. You don't have to do that, it's just personal preference. You won't really see it anyway. So I like to use a sewing needle that's applicable to crochet. It basically just means it's got a larger hole so you can fit your larger yarn through. And I'm just going to sew the holes closed. I don't really know how to explain it, but I'll leave the clips up so you can watch me do it. There is no right or wrong way of doing it, just try and figure out a way that suits you and a way that means that your yarn won't come undone. So all I'm doing here is just making all of these bigger holes look smaller by sewing through them. You don't have to do this, like I said, I just wanted to show you how you can do it for any pieces where it might be visible. And then once you have your leftover yarn, I know a lot of people cut theirs, but I like to just drag it into the center of the plushie. This way it can't accidentally come undone or anything like that. And if anything, if you've understuffed your plushie, you've got a little bit of extra stuffing in there. now that your plushie is fully closed, don't forget to really get in there and squish. So I'll show you kind of how you can make your head look different ways. So this is how I like to do it, but if you really squish it, then you can make it look really long, which, I mean, if that was the effect that you were going for, then great, but like this, I personally don't really like so much, so I just like to squish mine down. Great, so now we're going to start on the body, and we're going to do 6 single crochet in a magic ring. Now starting round 2, we need to increase all the way around, leaving us with 12 stitches. Onto round 3, we're going to do a single crochet and an increase, and then repeat that the entire way round, leaving you with 8. For round 4, we're going to be doing 2 single crochet and an increase all the way around with 24 stitches at the end. Onto round 5, we will be doing 3 single crochet and an increase, repeating that all the way around, leaving you with 30 stitches. For round 6, we need to do 2 single crochet, increase, 2 single crochet, and repeat that around. Just try avoid making any mistakes. This is essentially 4 single crochet and an increase. On to round 7, we're going to do 5 single crochet and an increase all the way around, and that will leave you with 42 stitches. For round 8, we're going to do 3 single crochet, an increase and another 3 single crochet all the way around. So this is essentially like saying 6 single crochet and an increase. The only reason I like to split them up like this is just so we can avoid getting a hexagonal shape and we can really keep it being a nice circle. For round 9, we're going to do 7 single crochet and an increase, repeating this the entire way around, and you should have 54 stitches at the end of it. So for round 10, we're going to single crochet all the way around, but we're going to do it in the back loops only. Always remember as well, if you're struggling to get it in like I do sometimes, you can use a smaller hook size. So for rounds 11 to 13, we're going to single crochet the entire way around, and this should be 3 rounds. So this is what it should look like by the end of round 13. For round 14, you should do 7 single crochet and a decrease all the way around, leaving you with 48 stitches. For rounds 15 to 16, which is 2 rounds, we're just going to be single crocheting all the way around. This should have 48 stitches. Here I am going straight on to round 16. For round 17, we're going to do 6 single crochet and a decrease, repeating this the entire way around and leaving you with 42 stitches. For round 18, we're just going to single crochet the entire way around. For round 19, we're going to do 5 single crochet and a decrease, and you guessed it, repeat it the entire way around, leaving you with 36 stitches. For round 20, it's a single crochet all the way around. For round 21, we're going to do 4 single crochet and a decrease, repeating this the entire way around and leaving you with 30 stitches. For round 22, we are just going to single crochet the whole way around. For round 23, we're going to do 3 single crochet and a decrease all the way around, and you should have 24 stitches. For round 24, we're going to be doing a single crochet the entire way around with 24 stitches. And we are finally done with the body, so we need to slip stitch as such, fasten it off, and we're going to stuff heavily. When you cut your yarn, make sure you leave quite a lot. I always tend to leave more than less, just to make sure that I have enough to fully sew it to the head. We can start on the tail by doing 4 single crochet in a magic ring. This tail is the worst thing in existence. I don't know why, it's just my least favourite part of this pattern. Maybe because I find it boring, I don't know, but yeah, let's do it. So for round 2, we're going to be doing single crochets all the way around, so that's literally just 4 single crochets. If you struggle to get your hook in, you can use a smaller hook. I think I managed to do it this time, but it is my least favourite thing to do. I always prefer to have like a magic ring of anything more than 5 because it's so much easier, whereas anything less than that makes me want to die. I don't know how it is for you guys. If you feel the same way, let me know in the comments. And yes, here is the fun part. Your piece of your work will be kind of inside out and you have to poke it the right way round. I'm so sorry I made you have to do this, but it's just a great way of starting the tail and we can suffer together. For round 3, I'm going to be doing a single crochet and an increase twice, so 2 times around. I used a smaller hook here just because it's so much easier and I really don't enjoy this. So yeah, good luck. I don't know if you can tell, but I am extremely tired and I'm rambling at this point, so I really hope you're enjoying this part of the tutorial. We got a puppy and I'm planning on releasing a vlog sometime soon, so yeah, exciting. Things should finally start getting easier now. We are doing round 4 single crochets all the way around and it should be 6 stitches. If you have anything else, you have done it wrong. Go back, redo it, frog it, whatever you want. It's wrong. Moving on to round 5, we are going to be doing 2 single crochets and an increase, and we're just going to repeat that twice all the way around, leaving you with 8 stitches. You will find that the tail will get incredibly repetitive, but yeah, enjoy. For round 6, we are going to single crochet all the way around and you should have 8 stitches. For round 7, we are going to be doing 3 single crochet and an increase. Of course, we're going to be doing this twice and you should have 10 stitches. So doing it like this just means we get a really gradual increase, which is going to make a really nice tail. And for round 8, you guessed it, we are just going to single crochet all the way around. Basically every other round we are just going to be single crocheting. I wonder how many times I've said around in this tutorial. Somebody count for me and leave it in the comments. I bet nobody will. And so for round 9, we are going to be doing 4 single crochet and an increase, and we're doing this twice, and you should have 12 stitches. I'm still really new to YouTube, and I'm kind of making it up as I go along. If there's anything you guys ever need, I monitor the comments and I try and answer as many in as much detail as I can. If there's anything you want or any advice that you need, or if I'm doing a terrible job, just let me know and I can try and improve it for you guys. I learned how to crochet on YouTube and it's amazing, so I just want to help others learn too. Okay, I'm going to try and stop rambling, but for round 10 we are just going to single crochet the entire way around. Round 11, we are going to be doing 5 single crochet and an increase, and we're going to repeat this twice, leaving you with 14 stitches. I'm saying repeat this twice, this may be wrong. Would you repeat it once? Yeah. Just do what I say on the screen. I probably get a lot of these wrong as well. We all make mistakes, so yeah. You win some, you lose some. And for round 12, we are going to do 14 single crochets. Moving on to 13, we're going to do 6 single crochet and an increase. We're going to repeat this again, if that's correct. You should do it twice basically, and you should end up with 16 stitches. For round 14, we are going to single crochet the entire way around. For round 15, we are going to do 7 single crochet and an increase, and we're going to repeat that again, leaving us with 18 stitches. For round 16, we're going to do a single crochet in every stitch all the way around, leaving us with 18 stitches. For round 17, we are going to do 8 single crochet and an increase, repeat this again, and we're going to have 20 stitches by the end of it. And for the final round, we are going to single crochet in every stitch around with 20 stitches. So now you can slip stitch and fasten off your yarn. Remember to leave quite a little bit of extra yarn so you can sew it to the body later, and then you can start stuffing. Remember that your work is really easy to bend into shape. I know a lot of people like to use wire in their work, and I probably will in the future, and I have in the past. But with this one I didn't really see any point. I just gave it a nice little curve by itself. So now we're going to do the ears, quite literally the easiest part of this project. We are just going to do 6 single crochet in a magic ring. That's it. It's incredibly easy. You can cut up a little bit of pink felt and stick it on if you'd like, or you can leave them plain. It's all up to you. And here you will expertly see the joys of working with this type of yarn, especially when it's such fantastic quality. Just look at that. I'm overjoyed that I now have to remake this. Editing, wow, it's like it's never even happened. Look at that. It's incredible. Yeah, that's it. Don't forget to leave some extra long tails to sew to the head later. Now we get to move on to the feet, so we're going to do 6 single crochet in a magic ring. For round 2, we're going to increase the entire way around. Don't forget to use a smaller hook size if you're struggling, like I tend to. For round 3, we are going to do a single crochet and an increase, and we're going to repeat this the entire way around, leaving you with 18 stitches. For round 4, we are going to single crochet the entire way around with 18 stitches. For round 5, we are also going to single crochet the entire way around, but we're only going to be doing it in the back loops. For rounds 6 to 7, so that's 2 rounds, we are just going to be single crocheting the entire way around. And this is me just straight away moving on to round 7. Now this part can get a little bit tricky. We're doing 10 increases and then 4 decreases. For round 9, we are going to do 18 single crochet, and then at the very end we're going to do 3 decreases. Altogether you should have 21 stitches. For round 10, we're going to be doing 9 decreases and 3 single crochet. So what we're doing here is we're making the heel of the foot. Now this is going to be really tedious, but for the final round we are going to increase all the way around and you should have 24 stitches. And this is what it should look like. Take note of the orientation so you don't sew yours upside down. You want the heel of the foot to obviously face the bottom of the plushie. Then we're going to slip stitch and fasten off, and obviously stuff heavily. Make sure that you leave enough yarn to sew to the body later. We are getting so much closer to the end of the video now. I'm really proud of you if you've managed to make it this far. We are moving on to the arms and we're going to be doing 6 single crochet in a magic ring. For round 2, we're going to increase all the way around, leaving us with 12 stitches. For round 3, we're going to be doing a single crochet and an increase, repeating that the entire way around, leaving you with 18 stitches. For round 4, we're going to single crochet the entire way around. You should have 18 stitches. Moving on to round 5, which is our final round, we are going to decrease all the way around, leaving you with 9 stitches. And you know the drill, we are going to slip stitch, fasten off, leaving enough yarn to sew to the body later, and stuff it heavily. Do you know what, earlier when I said the tail was the hardest, this is definitely going to be the hardest now, is the wings. It's going to be really confusing, but I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. So start by making a slip knot and we're going to chain 10. So now we're going to be crocheting back along our foundation chain. So we're going to do 2 single crochet and then we're going to chain another 10. So I promise this isn't that confusing. We're going to do 9 single crochet back along, and then once we kind of reach the end of this second chain, we're going to do 7 single crochet down the first chain. You'll see. I have said before, I am terrible at explaining things and I'm trying to get better, but I learn visually, so I hope that being able to watch me do it can help you guys out. Obviously, if you're ever confused, please leave a comment and I will try my hardest to help you out. So make sure that you finish off with a slip stitch just to fasten off your work, and leave quite a long tail for this. I really recommend watching the rest of the kind of fastening together of the wings so you can see why you need it, but you're going to be sewing all the way around the outside edge, so you really need a long tail for this. So you'll need to make 4 of those because we're going to be kind of attaching them together with the white feathery bits in the middle. It's really confusing, but if you just watch through, you'll see what I mean. So now we're going to be moving on to the second part of the wing, which is like the little white feathery bits. We're going to chain 11. And then we're going to do 10 single crochet back along the chain. So this is where we're going back along now. So for row 2, we're going to chain 1 and then turn to face the back of our work. We're going to do 7 single crochet. Then we're going to be chaining 4 and then turning the work. In the second stitch, we're going to do 10 single crochet all the way back along. So now we've done 7 single crochet, we need to chain 4. So we need to turn our work, be really careful not to flip your chain stitches, and we're just going to work 10 single crochet all the way back along. Now moving on to row 3, it's just going to be really similar. We're going to chain 1 and then turn our work. We're going to do 6 single crochet along, then chain 5 and do 10 single crochet back along. So now that we've done 6 single crochet, we're going to chain 5. Now we need to turn our work, and we're going to do 10 single crochet all the way back along. Now for row 4, of course we're going to chain our work, turn and do 5 single crochet along, then we're going to chain 6 and then do another 10 single crochet all the way back. So now we've done 5 single crochet, you need to chain 6. Now you need to turn your work and do 10 single crochet all the way back. Well done, you finished the wings. So to fasten off we need to slip stitch in the final stitch. And there we go. And you just need to make 2 of these. So each wing should have 3 parts. This is going to get a little bit tricky to explain, but I hope with the visuals you can understand. So we're going to start with the yarn from the inner part of this pink wing part. Sew through the kind of bottom stitch. Pick up your white wing and place it underneath. We're basically going to be sewing straight through. So now you need to pick up the second part of your pink bit and attach it as well. When you're making your wings, you're going to do both of them the exact same way, except when you attach them onto the body, you're going to flip one of them the opposite way round. So the only difference in visual is that you will see the back stitches rather than the front stitches, which is fine, you don't really notice it. So if we're going around the entire outside of this pink thing, we're going to start with the bottom and then obviously work our way round. I do show you a second method a little bit later on using some wooden skewers. It just makes it a little bit more sturdy. Obviously it's a lot more tedious and it's up to you. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but obviously it's just down to you and your personal preference. So I hope now you can kind of see what we're doing here. Once you have done one, the second will be a lot easier, I promise. So now that we've done the underside, we are just going to go through and do the top side as well. So it's exactly the same, we're just stitching through all of the stitches on both sides. Brilliant, this is exactly what your wings should be looking like, and then obviously just flip it depending on which side you're sewing on the wing. So this is my example with the wooden skewers. It's pretty much exactly the same. You're just gluing some wooden skewers in the middle of it to give it some more stability. Be mindful that you are only sticking skewers on 2 out of the 4 first wing parts. So because I'm lazy, I just used a glue gun, and then I used a little sewing needle just to push through the stitches to make sure that I could sew through them later, because obviously you don't want to glue these closed, otherwise you're going to find it really difficult later on. So here is the example of me doing it with the skewers. You're basically just sewing, but having the wooden skewers in between them. It's obviously a little bit more difficult because there's less space, but you can manage it. So now we're going to be moving on to the horns. You can make as many of these as you like and customize your dragon, but I'm just going to show you how to make the base one. Start by doing 6 single crochet in a magic ring. For my actual dragon, I used the same hook size and yarn weight as my main body, but obviously you can change this up depending on whatever look you want to go for. Just please be aware that if you use a smaller hook size with a smaller yarn, obviously your horns are going to come out smaller, so just keep that into consideration. For round 2, we're going to single crochet the entire way around, and then we're going to finish with a slip stitch, making sure you leave enough yarn to sew to the head later. What makes every plushie unique is how everybody decides to sew their dragon or whatever it is together. So depending on how you place the head, it can make it look different. I like to use just a really long needle to secure it in place before I start sewing. So I can imagine quite a lot of people don't have a sewing needle, so I'm going to show you how I do it with a crochet hook. Obviously there is no right way to do this, this is just kind of how I've picked it up, so I'll let you watch. I don't really know how to explain it, you just kind of pull through the same way you might do with sewing. Obviously if you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout. I always recommend low sewing patterns just for beginners, because unless you obviously have a background in sewing, it can be incredibly tedious and it can even ruin your plushie. You know, you've spent hours making all of the different parts, and then if you sew it on wrong, which I tend to do, you know, sometimes an arm might be higher or lower than the other, and my mum in particularly gets so mad at me. But each to their own, I suppose. It's definitely something you need to take your time with and be really patient. So this is how I like to create a little sort of knot with my yarn before I bury it so deep inside of the plushie. As for the tail, make sure that it is in line central with the head, straight down the back, and then attach it where you see fit. Obviously I like to put it really close to the base to try and help the plushie sit upright. And then of course don't forget that you can kind of bend it to the shape that you'd like. Now this frill along the back is totally optional. In my pink dragon I completely ignored it and I used a white fluffy yarn instead. But if you are wanting to include a frill, you need to basically measure it to the length of your plushie's head height or body, however long you want. It needs to be a multiple of 5 plus 1. So 30, 31, 40, 41, 55, 56. You know, it's always got to be a multiple of 5 plus 1. So when we do row 2, the double crochet, treble crochet, double crochet and 2 slip stitch, you need to be able to repeat that all the way along to the very end. So this is what it should look like when you've done a slip stitch to fasten it off at the end. You should have this sort of bobbly looking frill. The underside of the chain is how you're going to attach it to your plushie. If you've been following this channel for a while, or even on my Instagram, you would know that I like to give all of my plushies a lobotomy. I'd like to say it doesn't hurt them, but no, it doesn't. It's fine. You know, it's all good. It's great for knowing the position of where you want things and just holding it there, and you can try out different shapes or different angles to see which you like the best. So this is how I attach the frill to the body of the dragon. Obviously it's up to you. This is how I find worked for me and how I could kind of hide the stitches. So just give it a watch. Again, I'm terrible at explaining this, but you want to go through the bottom stitch of the frill and then into the same stitch of the plushie, the dragon head at the moment. And that way you can kind of minimize how many stitches you're using. So the wings should be attached to the body just below the head. Obviously you can mess around with placement and see which you like best, but just be aware that you've got to put the arms in front of them, so try not to let them be too far forward. So the arms should be attached either side of the body, roughly between rounds 20 to 24. Obviously, do whatever you think looks best. I'm using a large needle just to secure it so I can get the feet on and see how I like it. So I attach the feet roughly the same width apart as the arms, but between rounds 10 to 15 of the body. For the horns, I would roughly suggest anywhere between rounds maybe 2 to 10 on the head, making sure you have a good width apart. Don't forget to embroider on some nostrils as well. So I very roughly cut out a piece of felt to put on the body and then secured it using a glue gun, but obviously maybe use some fabric glue. And then I used some yarn just to go around the outside and give it some extra detail. I use a glue gun a lot, but obviously if you plan on selling your plushies, I would sew it on properly. And then sew the ears just below where you've sewn the horns, or if you've sewn the horns elsewhere, do it between rounds 5 to 10 on the head. I also glued a little piece of felt on them. I can't thank you guys enough for your support. I can't believe we are nearly 5k subscribers, and I can't wait to catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye!